I remember another time Motor was, we're in a tournament where Motor, the umpire's making bad calls. I'm like, listen, bud, you got to get your head, like, let's get going here. We need some calls or we need the corners. Anyway, he finally made a bad call. Motor comes out and says, excuse me, he said, can you throw me out for me telling you what I think? And the umpire said, no. He said, well, I think you're horrible, you're this, you're that, and starts going up and down. He said, you're out of here. The Motor says, I thought you couldn't throw me out. Well, you're out of here. That's just, you can't do that. And he said, by the way, Motor says, your proctologist told me found your head. Well, the fucking fans went crazy. They lost their mind. That was the funniest thing ever.
Get out of here! I told you, Mr. Drama.
I used to be a ladies' man, but I'm unhappy now. For courting 6 girls all at once, they
Say
used me.
bye-bye, baseball!
My mother said it was naughty, I should take some years back. But I said if it's naughty, sure it's also very nice.
And the Wally drops his glove, grabs Dalton. The benches are clearing.
All right, folks, welcome to another episode of Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly. It's been a great ride. We're 5 episodes. This is our 5th one, Hilly. It's been awesome.
Just having a blast so far, getting to catch up with the boys, hearing some funny stories, trading some barbs, man. This is it's just been a blast.
Yeah. Before we get into who our guest is this week, a couple of shout outs. We've had a lot of support in our corner right from day one, before the podcast even aired, and want to give a huge shout out to the guys in Rum Ragged. Awesome band, one of our favorites. They allowed us to use their hit song Ladies Man as our intro, and it's so proud to be associated with those guys, and it's really cool that they'd allow us to do that, and every time I hear it, I get goosebumps.
Yeah, massive thanks to Aaron and Mark and the boys, and it's a catchy tune, but they have so many great hits, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they have a couple festivals and stuff coming up here in the summertime, and looking forward to getting out and hearing some shows. They're always a fan favorite, and they're a pretty big band on the local scene here.
Might have to get them on here, Hilly. Might have to get them on.
I mean, it might not be a bad idea. I haven't caught up with Mark in a little while, obviously, with the stuff going on. But it'd be nice to get them on and shoot the shit and see where those guys are at now, and with the band and what they got coming up, and what the fans could look forward to.
Stay tuned. I say that's going to be coming down the pipe here pretty soon. But we got a hell of a guest, a Hall of Fame level guest coming in here with one of our all-time favorite ball players, one of the best to ever play, period, and Sean O'Brien. I think we talked about him in every podcast yet. I think all the softball podcasts either had him on or talk about him. But what a guest in Sean O'Brien we got today.
Yeah, for me, I look at Sean O'Brien like a professor of the game. Obviously he's caught all the big boys. You're talking your Frank Cox, your Gerald Muesler, your Robbie O'Brien, your all the big boys. He talks about the little black book. Maybe we can get some insights on our own swings and some stuff he picked up on us while we're still playing over the years. Wouldn't be a bad idea, but Obi he's represented Newfoundland. He's represented Team Canada. He's been in the ISC circuit for 100 years. Look forward to having a chat.
Yep, 3-time world champion, Hall of Fame in 2018. He got inducted in, and this is just a fantastic interview. He's so insightful. Like you said, he's an encyclopedia, and just shows that it's not just talent that gets you there. It's the hard work, and it's the mental side and the preparation that he took to a whole other level. So we're excited to get into all his stories, just what makes him tick, how he was so great, and just an absolutely hilarious fella.
Yeah. There's always some stories from behind the dish, I call them, that the rest of the players don't hear. Stories between the umpire, the batter, and the catcher. Yeah. So I'm sure he got a few beauties to tell us.
Yeah, and he's responsible for a couple of the bruises we still have to this day. So I'm sure we'll call him out on that. So without further ado, Sean O'Brien. Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly is brought to you by CoolBet. If you got a few extra bucks rattling around in your arse pocket, CoolBet Sportsbook will double your first deposit up to $200 when you use the bonus code DUSTUP. Head over to coolbet.com and get in on the fastest growing entertainment sector in the world. That bonus code again is DUSTUP, one word, all capital letters, DUSTUP.
Dad, this Jason Hill, was he a good pitcher? I said, fuck, I don't know. I never received any balls. He kept fucking hitting them out the park.
Never touched the glove.
Yeah. I was like, what kind of this catcher we having that you call catch? I'm not catching anything.
I was trying to think of it when we did Robbie, and I'm sure I threw maybe like an inning or maybe half an inning at Nationals in PEI.
Yeah, I did catch for you in PEI.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like I was mopping up against somebody, but it was one inning, and then
well, you could, and I caught for the fireballer.
Yeah, probably a couple strikeouts. Probably a couple strikeouts and a ground out.
You had way better spins than Music, because Music's drop spin went up and his rise spin went down.
Oh, man. Good old days. The good old days. Where are they gone? They're gone in a blink, eh?
Like I say, I mean, it's great what you're doing here, because guys can reminisce and talk about, if you can't literally be on a field and give back to the kids, if they can listen to this and hear, I know, you might drop a few F-bombs here and there and everywhere, but it's just, they can relate to the situations. Well, oh, maybe I can do this, or even help you guys or anybody else below. Like, when you go in a game situation, what did these guys do? That's what I did my whole career. Watched and studied what people did.
Yeah.
What's Mark Sorensen doing in this situation? What's Timmy Wall doing? What's Dougie Chase doing? And it intrigued me to see if it worked or not, because if it never, it's like Derek Jeter always says, you can practice this shit, but you practice it every day. And when you see the situation in a game, your situation don't change, because you know the outcome, because you practice it.
Yeah.
So it's wild if you think about it. The more you practice, the better you get, because you're used to that situation.
We're gone right to the fucking middle of the textbook here. Holy shit.
I mean, you talk to Jeter, talk to Jordan, you talk to all of them. I mean, they're all my good buddies, right? We keep in touch. I throw a few lines at them, give them the old failure to prepare is preparation for shit, failure shit. And they go, oh, yeah, man, can I use that one? Absolutely. That came right from Newfoundland.
Oh. But that is the wicked thing about doing this over the last few months. We get to go into beer tents, sit around, and you get those stories, but you learn a lot, right? Where you're picking each other's brain. And at least this platform now, we're able to pick the brain on here, share some of those stories, share a few laughs too. But that's why we're excited to have you on, because you got that covered from eyeballs to arsehole.
Wow. I mean,
right?
You be in a bear tent, and all you do is listen. Everybody thought I was the biggest drunk in the planet because I was always in the bear tent. I didn't drink beer. People would buy you beer 24/7. I like the rum. So I go around with beers in my back pocket to give them to people, to break the ice, to get talking about what I wanted to know. And in a roundabout way, I got to know what I got to know. And then I went home and wrote it in my book and said, all right, use this for here. They were probably hammered, didn't realize they were telling me. But at the end of the day, I'll use it against them. I mean, I was so bad, I even fucking had Wolfie and yourself and Hilly and all these guys in my black book too. I love you to death, play with you, but at the end of the day, I'm going to play against you at some point in time. So here's how to get them out. You just hit Lolly in their arm and drill Hilly in the face or something. I mean, it's just a simple concept. I'd rather give you one base than four.
Well, that's the thing, right? You're all buddies off the field, and then you get in the batter's box and, don't care, right?
So this black book, which is really interesting to me because, you hear about it all the time, catchers, and Ryan Boland has the same thing. Like he has a book of sorts on all the hitters, but so that's fine. So you got a black book on all the teams and the top dogs and the big boppers that you play week in, week out. But what about like a guy, and this is probably a learning lesson too for young catchers listening. What about a guy who's, say, an up-and-comer, say a Steve Mullally, who he just entered the scene, he's a good hitter, he's on the verge of being a great hitter. Like, as a catcher, what are you looking for with regards to his stance, his bat path, his tendencies? Like, what are you picking up, and what are you going to be putting in that black book?
Well, with the tendencies of nowadays, they have technology where if I need to see a kid, somebody got him videoed. So I can see Lolly right now is going his way. I know what he can't get out. I know how I can get him out just by a practice swing. As he digs into the batter's box and he takes his practice swing, I know exactly in my mind what you can't hit. Now, the guys like Sean Rychek, Colin Abbott are different people because they only hit what they want to hit. Right. You follow me? That they're the type of hitters that are so mentally strong that they're going up to look for a certain pitch, and that's what they want to hit. So at the end of the day, I'm going to not give them that pitch. I'm going to try to pitch around them. But that's what I do. I mean, I had when you guys went to 2015, I mean, I was home when you went over to the Worlds and went over to the ISFs. And I was talking to Boley and stuff about that. Like, I studied the Japan hitters, the Argentina hitters. I had videos and all of them that Glenn Boyle sent me. He sent me all the shit, and I'm going over ones that I had when I played in 09, studying the videos of the Australians, the New Zealanders, how to get them out and all that stuff. It's just the things that I enjoy sitting out watching to find out mistakes and just go with the mistakes. But that's what the kids do. I mean, technology today, everybody got a video of everybody right now. Everybody got a phone that's videoing everybody. Hey, did you get him? Who's this up-and-coming kid? Send me the link of him having his at-bat or second at-bat or whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, this is great information. For, like I said, for any young catcher listening. But so, like, obviously, you are an idol, and a lot of catchers would kind of try to model their game after you and do what you do and study you. Like, did you have that type of influence when you were growing up? Did you have a catcher or catchers? Anybody on the circuit that you looked up to like throughout your career?
Well, we had a lot of them, like even Newfoundland. I mean, the catch for Colin Abbott back in the day in Labatt's, Abbott was a pitcher. So, I mean, I got to catch for Colin, and then I got to look at Joe Bolin. I got to look at Dave Bolin. I got to look at Dick Davis from home. Okay, these guys are doing something right. They're catching for their brothers. They're whoever it is. I mean, Gossi was pitching back then. And it's like, okay, what are they doing right? What can I do to get my game to that level to be as good or better than them? Then you get on the circuit to go away to play junior ball or whatever it is. Then you start playing the senior circuit where you're a junior team, but you're playing against the Randy Pecks, the Cassians, the Timmy Walls, all these guys, the Sorensens. And I'm like, holy fuck, wouldn't it be great to be at that level? Then I'm thinking to myself, fuck, I can be, but you got to put the work in. And like you sit down with Sorensen and try to pick his brain. It's scrambled eggs, but he knows so much about everything and everybody. But he's a book of knowledge like Michael White. They can retain it all. Whether they put it in a book or not, I don't know. I just wasn't that smart. I had to write it down because I would have fucking forgot it. But I tried to emulate all these guys to be that level to make the pitcher the best they can be. It was pretty neat.
Yeah. When I think about you and your career, and you see some guys that they get by on natural talent, and not to say that you don't have natural talent, you got loads of it, but what really makes you stand out is the work ethic, and the work ethic that not a lot of people see. Now, people have come to know, the black book. A lot of catchers talk about a theoretical black book. You actually had it. And then the practices that came in, going back to the hotel, writing these things down, doing the video and all that stuff. So you're a really great example for the hard work that gets put in to get to that next level and then actually set a new standard for catching. So that was really impressive to see, but it also wore off on a lot of guys that looked up to you, got a chance to play with you, play against you. And I know our national team is benefiting from that now. But when you broke on the scene and you're saying you're trying to get as good as these guys, how did that work ethic come to be?
Well, I mean, like you say, it helped me to have Robbie. Well, when you're growing up and you have a brother who got all the skill in the world. I knew Robbie had talent right from day one. He had great spins on the ball. He just wanted to practice. I was 3 years old. I said, all right, I'll be the dummy. I'll go catch. I go catch from him. I'm like, oh, shit, okay, man, this kid can throw a rise ball. You can get right out of junior with a rise ball. What are you going to do when you hit the next level? Yeah, what other pitches do you have? Because people can dominate. Hilly would be the prime example. He probably threw 99% rise balls when he played junior and can throw it by people. Lucky enough, but Robbie's the same way. But to have him, we kept pushing each other. Yeah, we kept pushing each other all the time. And my main goal was to make him the best he could possibly be. And when we get back to just get a little off track, we get back to when Robbie then went to the ISFs in 1993. They went down. We trained hard for that. We went in. I wasn't a priority. My priority is to get him to be the best he possibly can, mentally, physically. Do what he got to do. We trained at your good old place, the Torbay Rec Center. We had a lot of fun there, which I know you guys love. And we did our training. And when he went away, and when he finally got on the plane to go, I knew deep down that he had a great chance of winning because he was ready to go. He was ready to play. He hit his spots. He actually had a great drop ball at the time. He had a great change. We're working on a rise change in junior, which is unheard of. We put a lot of work in. He went down there. When they won, to me, it was. I felt like I was a part of that winning team for whatever reason. I know it sounds crazy, but he went and won. The first person he called us, we did it. I said, fucking right, we did. Like, this is what it's all about. The hard work that you put in is an example of where it can get you. Now, if you lost in the final and all your cards were on the table and you played the best you can, it works out. Sometimes it don't work in your favor. But at the end of the day, he was prepared to play. They went in with a great mental attitude, and he was on the top of his game.
Did you guys go away at the same time? Like, I know you said you're 3 years older. Did he go to Ontario before you, or were you already up there? Or?
We both went. We came out of Newfoundland. We both played junior in Stittsville. I was, I think, 22, and Robbie was 19 or something, or whatever it was, or something like that. We went away anyway. We played in Stittsville 56ers, and we got a chance to play my last year junior. We got to play together, and it was quite the treat. I mean, I'll tell you a story about our team was great there. We had guys like Jody Ait, who's very familiar with the ball world, great ball player, played the senior level, played on the national team with him. So we have an incident where we're winning a game 5-6-0, and Robbie's throwing a blinder, throwing a jam. And you know us, we're always competitive. We're always pushing each other to the next level. So I'm there fucking calling the drop ball. No. Calling the drop ball. No. I said, what in the fuck is going on here? Drop ball. No. He's shaking his head. So all right, time up. So I marched out to the mound. And I says, all right, what the fuck's going on? I don't want to throw a drop ball. I want to throw a rise ball. This is junior ball. Like I said, everybody loves the rise ball. Great spin, looks great. Yeah, but it goes a long way too. So by the I said, all right, have it your way. Throw the fucking drop. I get back there. Says the buddy, here you go, bud. Here's a drop ball right on the fucking platter for you. What can you do with it? Buddy, are you serious? I said, you're fucking right, I'm serious. Buddy, it's a fucking moonshot off Rob with the drop ball. I said, there you go. So I walk up to mine and said, how was that? You fucking told him, didn't you? That's your fucking rights I did. One way or another, and Tuba starts shouting on the mound, getting a bit of a fight. So the umpire comes out and says, I never had this before. What am I going to do here? Eider looks at him and says, let him finish. So we're like, all right, but that's the competitive nature we had where we kept pushing each other. And Rob, I know the guy can hit. I know you can get him out on a drop ball. You think you can throw a rise ball. I mean, just trust me here. And he trusts me ever since that. Because I will fucking tell the guy what's coming. Fuck you.
That's wicked. You hold so many of the cards behind the plate, right? And
well, it's a trust thing, right?
Yeah, but that's the influence that you had on a game in, game out, ISC, ISF level. It's pretty impressive to see how you took control of a game and how you really shaped the outcomes of a lot of championship games. You played in probably more championship games than anyone I know. But what was your approach to those type of games? How did you go into them, manage the whole game, and especially when the pressure situations came around? What was your approach there?
I think, to be honest, like you say, yourself at Hill, you've been in championship games where you won and you lost. For me, going into approach a game, it was no different than any other game. And I had to get that mentality in the pitcher. I mean, I caught for Paul Pietnik in big games, and he had butterflies and shits, and he had it all, man. I don't know, but once the game started, he seemed to be okay, loosen up. But I just walked up to the pitcher to make it, hey, it's just another game. If you leave it all on the field and we give you some defense or whatever, it's just another game. Nothing changes. Right. You don't squeeze the bat any harder. You don't squeeze the ball any harder. Nothing changes. So every situation, whatever pressure situation came up, I would try to divert it. I'd walk out to the mound and say, hey, you think that chick back there behind the screen is looking at me or you? And he's going, what are you talking about? Could be bases loaded in the pressure situation. But I'm like, you just take his mind off what the stress and pressure that's getting to him. I was like, hey, bud, it's just a game, man. It's got a ball. If he's lucky enough to hit it, good for him. Take your hat off to him. But at the end of the day, don't make a mistake. Make your pitch. Don't make your mistake.
I mean, you caught for, I mean, I wouldn't even be able to name how many world-class top-level pitchers that you have caught. Like, I mean, how control everyone.
Top of the list.
I myself in this, obviously. World-class, of course.
Well, fuck.
How do you memorize all their tendencies and their patterns and what they want to do and know when they want to throw it and their signs and this and that and keeping their emotions in check? Because some pitchers are fucking crazy. Some pitchers,
oh no, I never had any of those.
Some pitchers won't say a word unless you go out and speak to them, type thing. So what is your thought process when you're say if you're joining a new team or you're joining the national team where you haven't caught pitchers in quite a while,
I just have to I have to get to know him, Hilly. My first main priority when I get a new pitcher, I got to get to know him. What's his home life like? What's his home life like? What's he doing? Is he single, married, got kids? I get in their head to find out mentally where they're at. The ball is a second priority. I want to know who the person is first that I'm catching for. How do I? And then you find out. I mean, I had the guys like Frank Cox, mentally unstable at times. You know that. And then I had the guys like Gerald Muse, who was very professional. Usually took everything serious. I had Michael White, very professional. I caught for Zia in the national team. Unbelievable. Pietnik, probably one of the best control pitchers in the game, was Mike Pietnik. He catch for pilot people, caught for young lads. I mean, the up-and-comings, like the Andrew Phibbses of the world. I caught for Timmy Mack. Everybody and anybody that I personally got to know, and I earned their trust. So it worked out, like I say, it worked out well. When you get the trust of the person, it's like things start flowing. They trust you, and then you walk out, and I can bring their mind back to not pressure, but back to something they can relate to, like a happy moment. It's like you're like a full-time psychologist being a catcher. I hate to say it, but that's what it is.
Sean OBrien, PhD.
It must took you a few days. My background check there before I got the circle that time beat you. Must took you a few days.
Hence why we lasted one inning.
Sean, I'm a full-time psychiatrist for Hilly. Like, we're in the bed not in the bed, right? We're in the bed next to each other on the road, right? But it's like having a patient lying down on the couch, right? Like, it's a lot to handle with what's going on in his head.
Yeah, don't mind him, Obi. I'm trying to. This is pitcher catcher talk here. I'm trying to keep it serious for. I want to stick. I want to stick with this point. He was a failed outfielder, turned first base. Now he's hosting a podcast. So, sticking with that point, I would assume, especially as a young guy, when you were coming through the ranks, you would have caught a lot of elite level pitchers that were already established. So I would assume as a catcher, you had to be willing to learn as well. I assume you learned quite a bit from your pitchers until you got to that level where you could, take charge.
Well, I mean, it was nerve-wracking for me when you get thrown in a situation where all of a sudden you get a catch for Darren Zach. You heard all about him. I'm this young kid full of, Jesus, okay, I'm nervous. I'm shitting my pants. It's like, what if you don't like what I'm calling, all this stuff? You get to sit down with Z, you have a chat with Z, pal, what do you think? First of all, what are your signs? And he's like, well, I throw a change off everything. I said, fuck, but I only got 5 fingers. So I'm going to throw my toes and hands in there. We'll do it. He said, all right, let's go with you'll give me the straight fingers will be the up, down, screw, all that stuff. He said, you wiggle them all. I'll throw a change off all of them. I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be good. And then the guy's hitting pinpoint spots. And I'm like, all right, but catching for these guys is like riding a bike. You set up and they put it there. You know yourself, Hilly, being the first world-class catcher that you are.
I know all about it. Yes. Yes.
I mean, you set up for a spot, you hit your spot, life is easy. The ones I got trouble for, the guys that are all over the map, is like, okay, where is this going to end up? We don't know. So I'm nervous. He's nervous. Everybody's all over the map. You need to have control at this level, and you will be successful.
Well, you mentioned some pressure situations and some of the young guys you got to catch. And we're going to dive into 2010 that year. It was special for you for a number of reasons on the ISC front. That's when you won with your brother, Robbie. You guys got to share that moment. But that championship game, and a couple of moments in particular in that championship game where, if I remember it right, tight game, you guys are playing against Kitchener. You're playing with Jarvis. And I'm not sure who was on the mound. You can fill us in. But there's a pitching change or someone got hurt, and Andrew Phibbs came into the game in a huge pressure situation. And I'm sure in his mind, he probably wasn't banking on being in the circle for that game. But there's a legendary story about how you handled that moment. And can you walk our listeners through that from your perspective?
Well, first of all, it was a treat to that year because I got to play with Robbie. And like you say, our dream as kids was to always, we want to win something together, win a Canadians, let's step and all of a sudden we win a Canadians together. And it's like, let's go win the world. So when it was all said and done, 2010, I guess LG and a few other people decided to want to put a team together and say, okay, Robbie, this is our last shot at it, man. Let's give her. So that final day in Midland, Michigan, we had we unfortunately took the back roads to win. You had to win 3 on the last day. We won a 9-inning game in the morning. We won a 8-inning game in the afternoon, and then we had to play that night or something crazy like that. Like, we were just exhausted back. So poor old Adam Folkart was throwing for us, and Adam's arm was falling off. Like, he threw blinders. I mean, he's a horse. He's going to give you what he got. Then we brought in Ichi, and Ichi started, giving us everything he possibly had, and he got hurt. So finally, we're in a situation where we're playing Kitchener. Bases are loaded. 5th inning, we're up by 1, and then we have Phibbsy down warming up for Andrew Phibbs, and never threw a ball the whole week besides on the sidelines. And I'm like, I've never caught for the kid, so I'm like, okay, this should be interesting, besides on the sidelines and stuff. Let's see where this is going to go. So anyway, Coos comes out, Steve Cooser, and pulls him out. He comes out and says, all right, Phibbs, you're coming in. As he's walking in, I'm standing with Rona there at the mound. You could see almost fear, The poor kid, he's sweating. He's almost shitting his pants. He's white. And he's like, holy fuck, I'm coming. I got to face Paddy Shannon and Jody Ike with the bases loaded in the championship game and haven't thrown the ball all week.
Wow.
So anyway, he walks in, he goes back, and we do our warm-ups, and I walks out after his warm-ups, and everybody's getting in the groove and all that stuff, and Fibsy's just waiting. I said, all right, pal, here's the deal. As you got Paddy Shannon coming up with bases loaded, I said, make him hit the ball. And he's looking at me like I got 10 fucking heads. Says, what did you say? I said, Paddy Shannon. I said, make him hit the ball. Make him get himself out. He's like, you're telling me to make Paddy Shannon hit the ball. Paddy didn't know trouble hitting the ball any other time. I said, bud, trust me on this. Make Paddy hit the ball. Make him get himself out. So I'm looking at Rona. Rona scratches his head too. So he said, I don't know what's going on in your crazy head of yours, but he said, fuck, all right, it might work. He said, by the way, we'll be high dippers if you can. And lucky enough for me, that's what Fibsy got. So I go back, throw down fucking high dipper inside, strike one. High dipper inside, strike through. High dipper, same pitch inside, strike three, strikes Paddy out.
Wow.
Well, fucking Fibsy thought he won the fucking world championship. Then like, holy fuck, I know he found a rhythm.
Yeah.
If fucking Eider comes up, all right, same thing. Give Eider, because he stepped in the bucket, an outside drop ball. He pops it up to Opie on shortstop. Get out of the inning. Walk in the dugout, and Fibsy comes to me and says, holy fuck, Opie. He said, what were you thinking there and all? I said, Fibsy, here's the deal. I go out there and tell you, bases loaded, fucking one out, Paddy Shannon coming up, you got to strike him out. What's going through your mind? Well, I'd be shitting my pants even worse. It's fucking more pressure. Yeah, you're squeezing the ball. You're doing whatever you got to do. Make him get himself out. We're not going to walk him. Just make him hit the ball. Trust your fielders. Trust he's going to get a ground ball or a pop. I mean, he hits that yard, he hits that yard. That's all we can do. If he hits the dipper out, good for you, Paddy. Shake your hand, all that stuff. But it relaxed him for that moment where the rest of the game, he just threw blinders. And fuck, we win the game, and he's friggin' telling this story to everybody in the interviews. And good for that kid to get that recognition, because he was thrown in a really, really tough spot in a really, really big game where, we're riding on you, Fibs. We just need a couple outs here. And Jesus, I mean, me and Robbie afterwards won, and we drank about it and laughed about it. But that's the stories that would give you chills where this kid, here's your spotlight, man. What can you do? But if you put pressure on him saying, you haven't thrown all week, Fibs. You got to get this guy out. It's like, holy fuck, that's even more pressure for the kid. I'll take the pressure. Fuck, I'll tell them all, like, fucking Paddy Shannon hit. It was on me. I don't care. Nothing to do with me. Just fucking, let's just get him out. And they say that's what rings are made of. Stories like that.
You talk about a high dipper. Is that not the hardest pitch to pull the trigger on as a hitter? I know it's my least favorite pitch to see. And Corey Garou was, in my opinion, had a really good, like a lot of pitchers, we all throw, I say we because, I'm still a pitcher.
Don't go there, man.
We all throw high drops every now and then. Like sometimes you don't mean to, right? But I feel like a guy like Corey Garou could throw a high drop when he wanted to. And me as a hitter, I always found that one of the tougher pitches to pull the trigger on.
The thing about Ruben and people like Robbie and all that stuff, they could throw a high dipper when they wanted, but they would set themselves up with a low rise and the same thing. So if you're not looking for actual spins on balls as a hitter, that got you totally confused, because they're setting up their high dipper with a low lifter and you're done, because they're picking outside corners on you. It's a great pitch if you can control it. But like you say, if you make a mistake, it's going a long way.
When you talk about the spins, so when I got a chance to play with you for the first time was back in 2006 when we had the Aurelia River Sharks. And it's really interesting dynamic for me when now looking back on 20 years of playing ball, when you actually get in the dugout and team up with people or you heard of, but then you get to see what makes great teams special, great players special. And remember, we're in the dugout, and you and Robbie are bent over the steps coming up out of the dugout, just staring at the pitcher. The fucking game's not even started yet. I don't even know if the other team got their cleats on, but you're just staring at the pitchers over throwing their warm-up spins, throwing the big ball. And then it was like a competition with you and Robbie picking pitchers. And we had Michael White on that team that year too. And I'm just going to basically softball university. But when you brought up the spins on the ball, you're famous in the softball community for picking pitchers. How did you get into that? And what are some of the things that you look for that made you so good at picking pitchers? And how did you use that information in your performance? Well,
in a situation where you can't bat your weight and you need some help, you got to fucking figure something out. Like, all right, I'm going to need all the help I can get here. I think I'm going to start fucking doing something to help myself. So if I know what's coming, that's half the battle. But I mean, I was lucky from the catching point of view where not too many pitchers could cross me up for the simple fact that when the ball left his hand, I saw the spin. and I knew whether it was going up or down or where it was going because I picked up the spin right out of their hand. Now, guys like Musey he was probably my toughest guy to catch for. He threw 100 miles an hour, and his drop ball spin went up and his rise ball spin went down. I remember Abby stepping up to the plate one time. Fucking Musey throws a rise ball spin, the ball drops. Abby looks at me and says, "Obi, what in the fuck was that?" I said, "Abby, that was a fucking drop ball." He said, "No, it wasn't." I said, "Yes, it was." He said, "It was a fucking rise ball spin." I said, "Well, it went down, so it's a fucking drop ball." He's like, "How in the fuck are we supposed to hit that? You fucking nuts." I said, "Boy, that's his success. If you're looking for spins, you're fucked with Musey because he threw so hard too." But I mean, to sit back with Whitey and Robbie to look for spins, look for tip of the hat, the eyes, the muscles in your forearms, your finger out of your glove, squeezing your glove. I mean, the way you step on a certain part of the mound, it's just any little thing at all that we could pick up on. We look for that to help us because, I mean, like I said, when you go to be a hitter and you know what's coming, that's half the battle. You still have to hit it and you still have to zone it up. But I think the pitches at our level are so good that they do keep it in your zone at some point in time where just put a good swing on it and you're going to have a good hit. But if you know what's coming, that's definitely half the battle.
Well, you were a mainstay on Team Canada for a lot of years. Why don't you talk a little bit about your path to Team Canada and what it took to get there and how long it took to get there?
I was pretty blessed. I mean, they had Craw in the planet, and Craw was a good friend back then and still is now. And Croft learned a lot, but Croft was a utility player. Croft could play anywhere. He's a very gifted ball player, and this is of the world there. And Chaser would take the time out. He did have a hot head, but Chaser was an amazing ball player. Little guy, caught the whole 9 yards, and Chaser was just phenomenal. But when he played with Victoria, when I played out west for a while, I got to sit down and talk the game with Dougie and pick his brain and do whatever it takes. And like you said, Obi, when I retire, bud, is your spot if you want it. How hard do you want to work for it? I said, boy, I want to be the best in the game. And he says, well, there's a lot of great catchers out there. I said, no, but I want to be the best. I want to study it. I want people to trust me. I want to be where you are right now, go to the national team and help out. And whether I ever get a hit, I could care less. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure the pitchers are at their best level and we get the best out of them. So, I mean, when Chaser retired in 2000, we got the call to go. I mean, we're in the national team program since 95. We're doing the 95 developmental team stuff and catching and doing whatever and wanting to make the team. Made it in 2000, and then you get the catch for the big boys. And see, like I say, coming from Newfoundland, to us, it's still a game of ball. No matter what jersey you're wearing, it's still great to represent your country and wear that maple leaf. There is no bigger pride that you feel proud of yourself to making it and getting there, but it's still the same game. Same players, same game and all that stuff. And I think the mentality of the Newfies when they hit that level is like, hey, it's just another game of ball. You know, we play it, we do what we got to do, we have some fun, and if we win, great. If we lose, well, it is what it is. Chalk it up, and we'll go back and try to win again the next day. So we keep motoring back. But my experience was awesome, and then I got to play with Rob a few times in the circuit, which was our dream as well, to wear the maple leaf together and stuff, and just they say it's just phenomenal. It's a different level of study. It's a different level of the game. You're playing at a even higher level. But the good thing is you get to play against guys you play with on your club team. So you get to pick them while you're on the club team. And then you're playing with them on the club team. And you get to pick them when you play national team. You're playing against them. So you got a good mind frame of how you're going to attack them when you play against them.
That's awesome, man. So you played at a time. So going back again before you even left the Rock, you played at a time. So what team were you with the program? Were you with Labatt's, the Last Blues?
Yeah, it was at Labatt's with actually your dad was playing. He was coaching us, Johnny Hill.
Oh, geez, you got to hear some stories now.
Yeah, but the old nifty lefty on first base. And it was great. We brought up his kids and Joe Boland was catching every now and then. Hilly would throw me in to catch an inning or two just to get me a taste, get your feet wet and all that stuff, which was great. Sometimes they'd pinch hit for you or whatever. That's fine, man. I'm here to live and learn, sitting on the bench, listening to Ronnie Boland tell stories all day. Just friggin' awesome. But I mean, the best part of that was learning from the George, getting to catch the George Pomeroys, the guys with the nifty changeups and spotting the balls and things like that. And the fun part was going into beer tent afterwards talking about it. They're out in the parking lot because you have a beer tent. You go in the parking lot and watching young kids like you going around freaking between the cars, scratching your name in the cars at like 5-6 years old. What the fuck are you doing? I said, Johnny, he's scratching somebody's car. What? Jason, you and Michael over there fucking putting your names in people's
Must have been Michael.
Oh, it had to be Michael. It wouldn't be you. You never do that. Hilly goes, Jesus Christ, what are you doing? I said, boy, you got some beauties in your hands when they get older, Johnny. Yeah. And now look where they're at.
Oh, man.
But so what I was getting at, so back when you were playing, I mean, you played against that was a really good caliber. That was a good standard of ball back then. You talk about the Davises and Georgie Pomeroy and the Pittmans and the Bolins and Billy Windsor and all those guys, Darrell Walsh. I just wish back then, like, what do you think if I feel like if we had to get the exposure, those guys had to get the exposure and start, like, traveling wasn't as big back then and everyone kind of stayed close to home. And I mean, league and provincials and stuff I remember watching, it was always great ball. But I feel like if those guys some of those guys could have got out and got some exposure and played some IC ball, I think we could have had some more representation back in the day. What do you think?
There's no reason why they couldn't go. I mean, the guys like Billy Windsor and the Dave Bolins and Ronnie. Well, Ronnie went away for a little bit. I think it might have been Pete Guy and stuff, and Joe. But I think the guys are more. I personally think the Newfoundland League was more competitive than the mainland. When we went away, we were used to playing as kids at the men's level, and we were prepared to face anything when we hit the mainland in junior and senior. Like, holy shit, Rob, this is not as bad as I thought. Christ, we can excel here. I mean, we're used to being guys getting drilled in the back. I mean, poor old Todd King come down from Halifax there trying to slap punt against Billy Davis all the time. Fucking Billy kept hitting in the ribs. What the fuck is that? You're in there. Get in there and fucking have your swing. What's this slap bunt and shit? Like, nobody knew where it came from, but that was part of Todd's game. But at the end of the day, we went from boys to men in the senior league in Newfoundland because it was just a great experience for us, and they prepared us to go to the next level. Now, like I said, unfortunately, the travel wasn't – to get off the rock back in the day was tough, and people, like you say, had their jobs. It was commitment. They enjoyed what they did in St. John's, but I definitely think there's no doubt in my mind that a lot of the Newfies back in the day could have definitely excelled at the level in Ontario and the mainland and the national team level for that. Just they say for whatever reason, work at home and family lives and all that stuff. And I mean, like I say, our dad was a great catcher in his day, great catch, great hitter. Started a family really young, and then at that point, you got your job. You can't afford to leave. You got to support your family, young kids. I mean, who knows? I mean, he could have made it. I mean, but we're lucky enough to fulfill his dream at our level. And I mean, when he sees us play, I hope he gets pride in saying, hey, because we played back then in his leagues, that and they never treated us any different. They treated us as, you're not kids. You can catch the ball. Here's a glove. I'm not taking any pity on you. I'm going to let you have it. So you either catch it or eat it. And I didn't like eating too many softballs. Was, I might as well catch this and let's go from there. But I mean, that's what it was. A lot of talent that could have made it, but just for whatever reason, had the commitments home, and it made us better players. That's for sure.
Just a quick story while I think of it. I remember back in the day, or back then, when it used to be on Cable Atlantic. They used to actually Channel 9 here. They used to show the game every Tuesday or Thursday, whatever it was back then. And I remember Colin Abbott telling me the story about Jerome Brocklehurst. I guess he used to be a teacher back in the day. I don't know what he is now, but he used to be a teacher back in the day. If he'd have a really good game, like he'd hit a home run or he'd go 3 for 3, next day at school, it'd be movie day. Play the games. Watch this, boys. Pay attention here. And boom, onto the bench.
Brock was a beauty. Brock would be on the mound and have a little laughing box in his back pocket. And all of a sudden, you hear this something laughing, and Brock would be in his back pocket pushing his laughing box. Like, what the fuck is he doing? But that's just the type of person he was. He was a character, man. He had nifty old curveball, and it was such fun back then to play. Like all the kids nowadays are playing it, but I think at that level that they played for keeps. I mean, if there wasn't a bench brawl or two after every game between Greensleeves and Labatt's or Stanley's Pub or whatever it was, so somebody was fighting or bleeding or whatever, and that separated the boys from the men. Like, it prepared us to do what we did. Oh, absolutely. Nobody wanted to lose, and everybody had to win, and there was pride on the line, and they played hard, man. I think that's what paved the way for us to give us a chance, and all the young lads from around the Bay played the same way. And like I say, Newfoundland is a hotbed for fast pitch because they just have a mentally tough attitude where they show up. The game don't change. The uniforms change. The game don't change. Just keep doing what you're doing.
That's right.
And I'll relate that to the national team level. When you go to the national team, the biggest problem that we have, and I was the same way when Abby got me on a national team talking to Abby, and you go up and you try to change your stance and you try to change the way you swing and you're trying to change this and all that. And Abby goes, what the fuck are you doing? I said, Abby, I just, want to impress people and all that. He said, you made the team because you can play ball. Why would you want to change your swing or change your stance or not do what you do that got you here? I said, geez, boy, you might be right. He said, no, I am right. He says, this is the godfather of Newfoundland here. I mean, I'm telling you what it is. Worst thing you can do to people who is change who you are. Be who you are. Be proud of who you were and just get it done. Like you say, a lot of respect for Colin. We played a lot of years against and on the national team with, and the godfather of Newfoundland, man, without him, I don't know if any of us would be where we are right now.
No, absolutely not. And that that advice was something that you took from him and passed on to the next generation. You know, when you and I first got to play on the national team, we got to play with you. You were a huge proponent for me making that team, a voice for me. I made the team without going to a national team camp at that point, and got to go because Tasha's son got sick, and you put a word in for me. And you spoke earlier about getting to play with players on your club team, and then when you get to the national team and you're playing with those guys, there's that sense of familiarity which makes that jump a little bit easier. And that was very true for me, because when I first wore the maple leaf down there, I was shit-baked. I didn't know what to do. And your question, are you supposed to be doing something different? And I don't know how many times I think you must have told me 100 times, just ingrained in my head, but because you do see some people that try and do things differently and not trust what got them there. And thank God, a lot of the young players had you around to really ease that transition and let the guys use their talent, what got them there. But that was some great advice that you passed on that's still being used to this day.
Well, it was a situation where, like you say, talking to Smitty and Wolfie and I were kind of the leaders on the team, and assume a captain's role or whatever it may be back then. And he asked for your personal opinion. I mean, I got to see you for a year, maybe two, and you can see right away if the kid got talent. You can pick it out right away. This kid got some skill there. Maybe it's a little off the wall what kind of skill he got. You can hone that skill together, whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, I knew you could play. I knew you're a great kid. I heard great things about you. And I said, you know what? When Smitty called me, he said, well, Tosh can't go. And I said, you know what? Why don't you give, young Malali a chance here? And he says, I don't know. There's other people. I said, you know what? I'll stake my reputation on right now. Give this kid a chance. And I said, he won't disappoint. And then we go there, and the first fucking at bat you fucking get called out on first at bat call and you smash your fucking helmet in 100 pieces with the national team. I'm like, holy fuck, I guess me and Lolly are going home today. What the fuck? Christ.
Oh, man.
I guess worst case too, you get him to take his guitar around. If he shits the bed, then at least a bit of entertainment for the boys, having a beer after the game.
Well, that's what it was. I mean, he knew after the game he got his pendants. He had to grab his guitar and go down the middle of the lobby there, or the little place in the hotel, and play his guitar. And there, all the other teams, Venezuela didn't know what to think was going on, but they were there, and Lolly was playing away, singing to his top of his lungs, and just a good old kitchen party. But that's his pendants. You had to do what you had to do. So it was fun.
I was frightened of that. And just for people listening, not knowing what we're talking about, we're down in a playoff game down in Mexico at the Pan Am Championships, playing against the United States, and I hit a ground ball, run to first base, and I thought I was safe, got called out, and sure enough, slammed my helmet down and got kicked out of the game. Hot head, and I had to go back in the dugout. Mark Smith was there. Yeah, I told the story before, but Obi in the dugout, man, I walked down, and I'm just looking for anyone just to say, man, it's all right. You're just shaking your fucking head at me. Like, oh, man. Not
the funniest part was when you're picking up 15 pieces of your helmet. Yeah.
Oh, man. But then we went back to the hotel, and the way this hotel was, the center court of the hotel was out in the open, and there was patios, walkways around, and in the national team, you do something stupid, you get kangaroo court, you got your punishment. And anyway, Sean bought me a guitar down at one of these Mexican antique shops, and I'm going around with one of these, the big, I'm not sure what they're called, the big Mexican guitars, not going around like flamenco guitars or whatever they are. And anyway, I had to stand out in the front of this center court and sing 3 or 4 songs, sing "O Canada" as my punishment. Gee, I'll never forget it.
I had a good old times at Fastpitch, just telling stories and having fun. But I mean, that's what it is. Everybody tries, and I thought you were safe by a mile too, Lolly, and truth be known. But I mean, oh well.
I'll still wake up sometimes in the middle of the night yelling at that umpire. Man, I was fucking safe. But anyway, but just staying on the national team theme, and name of our podcast is Dust Up, right? And you've had some legendary dust ups in your day, but I think one of the most famous ones was back in 2004. And you talked about the old school mentality of beating players and retaliation and things like that, and that kind of came to a head with the New Zealand Canada game down there in 2004. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, I mean, you're playing in New Zealand, and you're hated from the start anyway, which is fine. And they must have, a good 15, 20,000 people in the stands. Like, the place was jam-packed. It's a night game. we're playing round robin, and all of a sudden, some of our players start getting hits. All right, the boys are okay. Once accident, next time, because we were hitting the ball pretty good down there for whatever reason. And anyway, Boxy gets up, and I think it was Jimmy Wan or somebody hit him right in the head. Well, that was it. Fucking the bench is clear. Dino goes out and starts grabbing Jimmy, and the size of Dino, nobody wanted to mess with him. And then Rona goes, I was going to jump on him, but oh no way, you're on your own. So they all dust up, and everybody's grabbing everybody like a wrestling match, throwing people around, and it got pretty intense and pretty heated. And everybody had their say and did what they had to do. So anyway, the dust settled, and we go back to our dugouts, and Niter has to go for a piss. So Joey Yate goes for a piss, and fucking in the piss, or I guess Rona's brother must have come in and grabbed Niter and said, you're getting it, blah, blah, blah. And fucking Niter got shit big. You're in New Zealand, man. You're in enemy territories. Somehow he got out and come back to the dugout, and he starts telling the boys this. So fucking Smitty's like, hang on, everybody calm down here. Let's not get carried away. So fucking Dino off the bench when I starts walking away, and Smitty goes, Dino, where are you going? Coach, I'm just going for a piss. Well, fucking Smitty, you get back in that dugout right now, because Dino would have cleaned out the whole fucking clock down there. I mean, it was intense ball, but it was that's why you live to play. I mean, your heart is racing. You're up there. You want to win. They want to win. I mean, their hometown, their fans are screaming, yelling, calling you every name under the sun, which is great. I mean, some of them I actually enjoyed. I mean, hey, thank you. Appreciate it. But it worked out well. But, I mean, that's just unfortunately, we lost in the finals to the Kiwis that year, I think, in 04 in New Zealand, which was a pretty big disappointment for us because we played so hard and everything was going well. And it's like you say, just didn't catch a break. I mean, we were up 3-0 going in. Grazer had a great day. I think he had 3 doubles or something. And just I don't think we ran out of gas. It just, they had a pick on all of us. I mean, or the rumor has is that they had a video screen set up in center field, a little laptop, and they were picking my signs from center field, standing up, sitting down, whatever it is. I mean, the game is over. It's all done and over. But I mean, hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, I guess. So if it worked for them, hey, they got it and moved away. But I mean, we got our revenge in 2015, so it worked out well.
Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly is supported by Miller Lite. Great Pilsner taste with only 90 calories and 3 grams of carbs per serving. After a tough game, it's always Miller time. Please drink responsibly.
I was just looking down through some of the major teams you played for: Owen Sound, Selects, New York Spirit, Broken Bow, Smokers, River Sharks, Holman Twins, St. Thomas. I guess first thing comes to mind is looks like you made quite a bit of fucking money. But
I got a big suitcase.
Aside from that, you must have all these are top dog teams. You must have played for some pretty legendary coaches and some beauties in the game. You got any special, obviously you have special memories with every team and each one is special in their own way, but any cool stories about some coaches?
Oh, we had some, like I say, we played for Dan Donahue back in the day in Owen Sound when we first started out and the seniors like Owen Motor. Yes. He spoke his mind, man. He didn't care what it was. And I remember playing an Owen Sound doubleheader at night in Owen Sound. I think we were playing Waterloo. And for whatever reason, Robbie was throwing. He's throwing great and throwing blinders again. And had a situation where we're winning by 1 run and somebody got a double. So anyway, the next guy coming up might have been Croft or Adam Smith or somebody, and they were having a great week. They were right on it. So I said, should we walk him or not or whatever? And anyway, Motor marches out and says, all right, fellas, what's going on here? What do you think? And I said, I don't know, Motor. I don't know if we should pitch them or walk them and all that. And then Rob says, all right, we're going to pitch them. Whatever, we'll pitch them and don't walk them. Motor says, I don't know, I think we should walk. Rob says, no, we're going to pitch them. Anyway, pitch them, they hit a bomb. We end up losing the game. Well, we go in the dressing room afterwards. There's Owen's down at dressing rooms and sitting in the stall. Motor comes in losing these marbles. And he's like, that's the last fucking managerial decision you guys are ever going to make on this team, blah, blah, blah. And Red, because you played with Red, Dale Levy. His brother played with his lefty, big Doug Levy. And lefty's about, 6'7". He got legs like toothpicks, arms like toothpicks, and he got a big old beer belly on. Well, lefty's a very intimidating person. Lefty stands up the Motor looking down and he says, you leave those O'Briens alone. They're great for this team, and we got their back. If they ever want to make a decision like that again, we got their back. Motor's like, okay, then that's fine. And we ended up winning the Canadians that year because we all got along. We all had each other's backs. It was a good team concept. But Motor, I remember another time Motor was, we're in a tournament where Motor, umpires making bad calls. I'm like, listen, bud, you got to get your head, let's get going here. We need some calls or we need the corners. Anyway, he finally made a bad call. Motor comes up and says, excuse me, he said, can you throw me out for me telling you what I think? And the umpire said, no. He said, well, I think you're horrible. You're this, you're that. And starts going up and down. He said, you're out of here. The umpire, the motor says, I thought you couldn't throw me out. Well, you're out of here. That's just, you can't do that. And he said, by the way, motor says, your proctologist called me, found your head. Well, the fucking fans went crazy. They lost their mind. That was the funniest thing ever.
Oh, man. Yeah, he was.
Well, I mean,
the
other one is Doc, too. I mean, Doc Simmons was a beauty. He was a very professional coach. Doc, you look good, you play good, Broken Bow. This is what it is. But then when we merged from Broken Bow or New York Spirit to Broken Bow Travelers, we merged, and I think 6 from our guys went over and 6 from theirs guys stayed. So you got to play with the Thomas McKee's, Jarrett Martins, got to play with the Musey was on Doc's team at the time. So we're bringing over me and Butchie and Frank Cox and a few others and Charlie and did Charlie go to that year? No, we had Wolfie and Eider. So we all go over for the big merge and life is good. And then like I say, Doc will sit down and have these first meetings. And here's the deal, fellas. There's one sheriff in town and you're looking at him. This is how it's going to be. So put everybody in their place right away. But the problem is that Doc liked to call, Boxy was the other catcher, and Doc liked to call the game for Boxy from the bench. So he's catching for Musey, and Doc is there wiggling his fingers from the bench to call change-ups on Musey's throwing and rise balls. So I wonder why Boxy was looking over at him. He's like, what the fuck's going on? What am I missing here? I thought the Boxy after the game was like, Boxy, what's going on? Oh, Doc calls all my pitches. I said, why would Doc call all your pitches, man? He don't know the flow of the game. He don't know what's happening, what kind of ball the pitcher got. Pitchers like certain kind of balls. Can he get certain spins with them? Can it work? Can it not work? I mean, you got to know the flow of the game here. Doc goes, no. So anyway, I go to catch from Musey in the finals, and Doc's there, right? Sean, yep, Sean. Wiggling his hand, what the fuck's he doing? Anyway, after the innings, I'm doing what I'm doing. He's like, Sean, I'm calling the game. I said, hold the bus here, Doc. I said, you got the wrong guy back there if you're calling the game. He says, I'm telling you, I'm calling the game. I do it for boxing. I said, Doc, you got to trust me, man. At the end of the day, if I fail, you can fucking call my game all you want. But I know the hitters. I know what's going on. I know what I can get them out. I said, you got to trust me here and let us get through. We end up winning the tournament. Doc says, at the end of the day, says, all right, you take care of Frank and Musey, but I'm still going to call Boxy when he catches for me. You do whatever you want with Boxy, knock yourself out. But at the end of the day, Doc, I want to call you. I need to know the flow. Because I know when I'm catching for Robbie, there's and Hilly would notice, being the professional pitcher that he is as well, that you get certain kind of balls. Some are light, some are heavy, some got big strings, some don't. It's just it's a feel. So when you get that certain ball and you want to keep that in the game, and I remember when we play with Robbie and Junior or whatever, even in the senior circuit, and I got Coxie get a ball that he likes or whatever, in the warm-ups before the game, I'd be looking for the kids in the warm-ups. I said, I'll tell you what, you want to make a quarter? They said, what? I said, every time this ball here goes out, you bring the ball back as quick as you can. And they're like, I said, every time you bring it back at the end of the game, I'll give you however much quarters add up for you bring back the ball, just to make sure that Rob or Cox or whoever got their ball back. It makes them happy. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the kid, one game was costing me like $10, $15 because the fucking foul balls. I mean, Jesus Christ, people, it's getting expensive here. But, I mean, that's what it meant to the pitcher, to have that comfortable ball that's very light, that makes great spins, and then you throw a different one in the game that's heavier and don't spin as well. And it's like, this ain't going to work. So you get me that ball back, and I go out on the mound, pretend I'm doing up my laces or the shin pads because couldn't adjust the chest pad because I didn't have one. So it is what it is.
Yeah, you're freaking nuts when it came to that too. We talked about that on Robbie's episode. I still, you got screws loose anyway, but that screw there, that was the loosest one you had.
I mean, it was just a comfort zone. I don't suggest it. I don't recommend it. I didn't see it as, like, growing up, nobody wore chest pads. But for me, I know it's, having a body like a bag of milk here. I mean, it is what it is. When I go back there, I know for a fact, like, and then I tried the chest pad out. And when the ball would, when the dirt hit the chest pad, I didn't know where it went because I couldn't feel where it went. It hit the chest pad, and the chest pad was like a brick back then. So I don't know if the ball went left, right. You had to take your mask off and look around, see where the ball was. When the ball actually hit me in the gut, I knew right where it was. It was right in front of me. That's it. It didn't go nowhere. So
you might not be able to fucking breathe, but you know where the ball is.
I mean, it's not the part of it. It is what it's a ball mark. It's not a big deal. We all get hit with balls all the time. It's just mind over matter. But I got hit a couple of times with Robbie was pitching, and I don't know where we were. Anyway, we had Bongo as a trainer, and Robbie threw a rise ball. The buddy swung over and come back and struck me right in the chest. I'm like, oh, geez, all right. So I go out and Rob said, hey, you all right? I said, oh, fuck, this is your own fucking fault for not wearing a chest pad. I said, well, what is it? I said, I'll catch it next time. I said, you catch it or eat it. And I guess I ate it. Anyway, we get back in the room afterwards, and Rob said, you got any strings on you? So I took off my shirt, and there's a ball string here. He said, oh, that's not too bad. That one didn't hurt. He said, holy fuck. He said, look at your back. I said, what do you mean look at my back? Apparently the bruise went through my fucking chest and come out my back. And he said, there's about a basketball-sized bruise on your back. I said, there's no fucking way that's there because you don't throw that hard. And he started laughing. But then Folkart got me with a good one in Erie, Pennsylvania. Lakes are pretty tough an area, as you well know. You play a night game, it's hard to see. So for whatever reason, Folkart was throwing the dippers, and it was like 200 miles an hour in Erie because of the lights. And I don't know, we got crossed up, and one drilled me right in the chest. I'm like, oh, so Folkart, oh my God, everybody come running tonight, come out and hand him the ball back to me. Barely breathe. But I mean, you want to be Mr. Tough guy. Yeah, I give him the ball back. He says, holy fuck, is it the best you got? He says, seriously, what is wrong with you? I said, well, I should have caught it, my fault. But he just laughed and went on. But Jesus, they do leave a mark, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. But that's the thing with you playing at that level. You caught all the fastest throwers in the world, and you're back there with no chest pad on. Do you ever get nervous? Or is it just a flow? You see
about
some of these guys.
And get hit, or?
Well, just the speed that these guys are throwing the freaking ball at. Like the squat down there, you're the best catcher in the game. I'd be shit baked the whole fucking time I'm back there.
And then you catch me at Nationals, you're probably like, fuck, I don't even need shin pads.
Yeah, but the problem about catching for Hilly, I never ever caught it. The ball never reached me. I'm like, fuck, these guys are hitting the shit out of you, man. I like that catch. I didn't know what it feels like to hit the glove.
Yeah, I was nervous, but you never fucking come out and talk to me. You never come out and told me to let him hit it.
The only time I come out and talk to you is give you the ball back. There, geez, another one.
You never called the high fucking dipper for me.
No, because it wouldn't reach me.
Well, Obi, now that we got you here, me and Hilly both got bones to pick with you from playing against you two, because you're just one of the best buddies off the field and playing with you. But we know you're calling friggin' beanballs against us. You called that one because you told me when Folkart hit me, and there's another couple of times.
Yeah, but I did apologize first. Don't ever forget that.
You did? It doesn't take away that I can still tell when it's going to rain a day before it's going to rain because of the pain in my arm. But Hilly, now's your time, man. Now's your time to call him out.
Well, I didn't hear you apologize to me when Frankie hit me, but I think I was concussed.
You were in a situation. I think that was in Erie. Wasn't it Hilly? Was that Erie, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, Eau Claire.
Was it Eau Claire? Second time in Eau Claire. And as it was a misty night, the balls were wet. And I'm saying, Frank's a little unstable at the best of times. And for whatever reason, he was having trouble with the balls, and he kept throwing them back. And he finally said to the umpire, he says, I don't want another ball. This was too wet. The umpire says, no, you're using that one. Use the ball. And I'm thinking to myself, this ain't going to fucking end well for anybody. Because if he got the ball in his hand and it's wet, he's going to hit somebody. And nobody ever wants to get hit. And I think he hit you right in the nose or the eye or something. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Frank, what are you doing? He said, the ball's wet. I'm like,
right in the fucking snot box.
There's no reason to hit you. But he just wanted to prove a point to the ump that, okay, you gave me a wet ball. Here's what happens. The umpire gave him back a dry ball pretty fucking quick. I said, yeah, but the poor kid could have got a concussion because of it. Come on. And
the umpire felt bad at least.
Oh, somebody might have. And I'm thinking, I wasn't happy with Frank at the time. Like, Frank, get him right in the fucking face. Obi, the ball's wet. I'm telling you, you're a first-class pitcher, elite level. You know where the ball's going. You just don't fucking throw at somebody's head or whatever. I'm telling you, man, the ball's wet. All right.
Yeah, no, and we touched on this before. I've been ribbing on Frankie, but I played with Frankie with the farm for a year, and I bring it up to him every now and then. It was only Joe. I know he didn't mean it and stuff like that, but just so he doesn't get the wrong impression.
You know what? I love Coxie. I mean, Coxie is when I first started catching for Coxie, like you say, you live and die by a rise ball. Coxie was a pure rise ball pitcher, threw it all day long, man. He could get away with it. When I first caught from him, it was all drop balls. And he's like, what are you doing, Obi? I got a great ride. I get that, Frank. But this is the round robin, but this is the beginning of the season. I want to see if he can throw a drop ball. Through the end of the year, when I caught from him in 2000, I think Frank was probably one of the best drop ball pitchers in the game because he knew he could throw a rise ball. He worked on his drop balls best he could. Then he started working on cutters. So he had one that cut in to you and cut away from guys. And he worked hard on it. And I said, Frank, now I can use all your pitches, not just your rise ball. Because when somebody goes to bat and you're a one-trick pony with one pitch, they're eventually going to hit you. Because to be a pitcher in this game is the hardest thing possible. Because you got every year you're facing the same hitters over and over again. Odds are the hitters are going to pick up on what you're going to throw them if they're smart at all. It's tough for you guys to keep getting people out over and over again. It's tough.
Yeah, I remember watching, and I'm pretty sure you were with me, Lolly, and I think it was, I'm trying to remember, I think it was in Fargo at the ISCs, and were you not catching Frank and Musi then?
Yeah, we wanted. I think we wanted a broken ball here.
Yeah. So we were standing behind the backstop of some game. I can't remember what it was. And Musi, he might have had the game off, or Frank might have been relieving him in a blowout game or something like that. But I remember just watching, man. and you had, you're giving them sign, putting up the glove, and you never so much as to move your glove. And it was just ball in the glove, spot. It was unbelievable to watch. And I just remember, like, it stuck out with me for a long time. You talk about the elite level pitchers control and being able, a lot of guys can throw it hard and this and that, but you can make it move. But if you can't pinpoint spots against the big hitters and the top dogs, it's going to be a long day for you.
Well, that's what makes it good. When you got a pitcher that got control, Hilly, I can basically control the whole game, because I played with guys like David Boyce, and we have like a Rob on the mound or Cox on the mound, using anybody, Michael White on the mound. You play with a guy like David Boyce, you get late in the games, Boyce would be like, Obi, make him hit the ball to me, because he wanted the ball. He was a professional player, great ball player. You want him to hit the ball to you. So I set the batter up. So if he's going to hit the ball, he's got to hit it to that side of the field, to David. And David always come up with the great plays. And hey, CJ was the same way. Jonesy would come, and Chris Jones, and he'd say, Obi, get him hit the ball to me. So you're dealing with a Frank Cox on the mound who can hit his spots, make him hit the ball that way. Jonesy's like a vacuum, man. Him just throw people out. I was like, man, I love it when a plan comes together. Like, it was just so much fun to play when a pitcher got control. Like, it just makes my life easy, their life easy, and the players are getting some balls in the infield, which they're making some plays.
Yeah, to see you and Frank together, I know you had that relationship with a lot of pitchers, but that relationship you had with Frank, getting to see it firsthand for a number of years there, from 06 to, 2010, you guys. But he was, for me, the very first time I got to see someone truly, truly elite, and someone that you hit your wagon to. We'd be out, there's games when he's throwing to you. I was playing outfield at the time. You're just out there kicking grass, talking to the fans, the beer tent, boys, what's going on? We'll be back in the dugout in a minute. Frank and Sean got this one. Like, there's games the ball never got out of the infield. It's crazy how good he was and how good you two guys were together.
Well, it's the chemistry part, and I get that with all the pitchers. I mean, like you say, when pitcher Frankie hits these spots, when I got trust in them and they got trust in me, we can hit our spots. The game is easy. I mean, sure, you're going to have your ups and downs. I mean, if the rise ball's not working one game, you try to go with the dippers. Let's keep it on the ground all game. If the drop ball's not working, all right, let's try to keep them in the yard. Get a few pop-ups for the boys. Like, it's so hard to strike people out at this level in this game. Like, it's crazy. But I mean, Frank can do it. Like you say, I take my hat off to all the pitchers that can do it year in and year out. The Todd Martins of the world kept doing it. I mean, Marty got a great changeup, and he used it to his advantage. And the Coxies and Robbies and Michael Whites and all those guys that Zach. I mean, you can name Piet. All pitchers over the years that year after year, you got to get the same hitters out using the same pitches over and over and over again. Like, eventually you're going to catch up to it. But, give these guys credit. They work on it, and they still manage to get their outs. I mean, that's what's so great about this game and great about these pitchers, and they get the accolades they're supposed to have because they are that good.
Yeah, it was cool to see it in 2006 when we went out to the Nationals out in Prince George. You guys got me on that St. Thomas Centennials team, and you said, Lolly, come play with us. This is how you're going to make the national team. And that was an eye-opening experience, getting to play with Chris Jones and Ryan Wolf and yourself. And we had Coxie and Robbie and the guys, but that was a pretty special tournament. What do you remember from that?
That was a great tournament. Like I say, anytime you get to play with guys like Ryan Wolf, who's an ambassador for the game, I mean, he's probably one of the best players that I've ever been lucky enough to play with, and he's a very good friend of mine. Like, we roomed together for a few years in Bow. So you have Wolf, you have CJ, the same thing, proven leader. I mean, he's working with the women's national team now, CJ. Just an all-around great. And you have players and teams that you want to win for. And I mean, CJ was one guy that everybody wanted to win for that year when he brought you up and stuff. And it's like you say, I got you on teams, but you got yourself on your teams. I mean, you're a flat out good player. It's just, you had to hone, get your talent and start picking pitchers and do the right things, have your good at bats and not waste a pitch or take a pitch down the middle or anything like that. You did all that yourself. You made the work, and we just helped you along the way. But I mean, getting in that game was a final game against Corey Giroux, who's always throwing blinders. Giroux's a great pitcher. I mean, we go into get into the finals. We go in, I think it was the eighth inning. Was it, Lolly? It might have been the eighth inning.
Yeah.
Where we're in extra innings, and Big Red comes up for a hit, and I think he hit a ball off Rue in the bottom of the eighth. I don't think it landed yet. I think it might have flew over Ontario there last week.
Yeah, a couple scientists put a name on it. They thought it was an asteroid.
I tell you, it was one of the biggest home runs I've seen in a long time. It's just one of those times where you swing as hard as you can. and you meet the ball at the same time. And I mean, great for Red, great guy. Couldn't ask for a better guy to do it. He's around the bases. I mean, I think Lolly jumped up in the dugout. The dugouts are really small. I think he had a big old egg on his head, smashed his head up.
I still got a dent in my head from that. Oh.
Yeah, like, bud, you might want to wear your helmet in the dugout now. You're going to start doing that shit. But we're running around like fucking kids, and it was awesome.
You speak of Chris Jonesy. How big was that play? I think it was the 6th inning where he called a protest.
Yeah.
Remember, he ran in, and there was a guy running from second to third, and he just ran into him. And they called him, I think they called it interference on Jones. And just, I was out in left field and Wolfie was in center. And they called time. Jones is just so professional about it. He said, what? No, he said, I know the rule. That's obstruction. That's not interference. And he just put his glove underneath his arm, standing with his hand on the sip. He said, we protest. I'm out in this first real championship game. I'm out talking to Wolfie, who I hardly know him. I said, man, what's going on here? And the people are out in the beer tent just chirping me and Wolfie, right? And he said, don't worry, Lolly, Jonesy got this. Sure enough, 15, 20 minutes later, umpires comes out, you're out of the inning. It's just, you see the cream rise to the top, as they say, when big situations like that come around.
Well, like I said, when you play at this level and you practice shit like that, you practice it all the time, in a game situation, it just comes natural. I played with CJ for 3-4 years, probably on club teams and stuff, and I seen it so much. Any ball hit his way and runner on second, he's intentionally going to run into him. I know it for a fact. You know it's going to happen, and he'll sell it. And then he's very professional. He'll walk in and speak like very normal, not freaking out or losing his mind. Like, okay, I know the rule. You like you said, I know the game. That this is obstruction. I mean, there's no ways about how am I supposed to get to that ball when he's running into me. Like, and CJ, like he was one of the best of them. It was so awesome.
Yeah, what a party we had that night.
Oh, my God. Funny thing is, we get there, and, of course, Lolly got his guitar, and we go back to the conference center in Prince George Hotel. And, I mean, Ruba's nice. Corey's nice enough to show up with the boys. Them few beers. Come over, Rube. You lost. No big deal. We're showing up. Lolly, had a few cocktails, and life is good, and singing these songs. Then all of a sudden, he sings a song about how far Red hit the ball off Corey Rube. I said, Lolly, you realize Rube's still sitting in the room? Oh, yeah, that's all right. Rube's all right. Don't worry, Lolly. I'm going to strike you every time I see you from now on in. Well, what a laugh we had.
Oh, man, what a laugh. And then, well, we went back to our room and just, having a couple of beers, whatever, and then went to bed. I wake up next morning. I roll over. And here's Corey Garou underneath me bed skirt, just snoring. I'm looking at him. I said, what the fuck are you doing here? He said, hey, Lolly, how's it going? What a great guy.
Hey, crash wherever you can, man. And like you say, we had fun. We played serious on the field, and we were pretty competitive. But at the end of the day, when somebody wins and loses, you still have a few beers afterwards, talk about the game, and, you move on right to the next game. It is what it is.
Hey guys, Hilly here. Just wanted to take a minute to thank everyone for the support we have received so far. If you have any comments, feedback, or a guest request, drop us a line at dustuppodcast@gmail.com. Obi, take us through, I guess you can go right from we all knew it was going to happen, but from the phone call to or whatever it was when you got the call for the hall for the ISC. Take us through that. What was your emotions? Like I said, we all knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. But why don't you touch on that for us for a little bit?
To be honest, Hilly, I never even expected it or dreamt something like that, to be totally honest. I played the game to make the people around me the best they can be. I always took the back seat. I didn't care. I didn't care if I ever got a hit. I didn't care. I just wanted the team to be the best they possibly could be, the pitcher to be the best they possibly could be. And if anything came out of that, bonus. Like I say, from day one when I worked with Robbie, I wanted him to be the best he possibly could. And when we left and went our different ways with different teams, he succeeded. I mean, he's a great hitter, great pitcher. I mean, he won rings. He did whatever. We finally got to win our rings together. I mean, he was the top of his game. And I mean, I think he should be a Hall of Fame. I mean, he got all the accolades for it. He did it. I mean, he dominated at times. I mean, the kid could play. So when I got the call from John Thompson, it was actually on a work site. And he called me up and said, Sean, I got some great news. Johnny, what's going on? Because I knew Johnny from being in Kitchener and all that stuff. He said, first ballot, unanimous decision, you're going in the Hall. I said, what Hall? He said, "You're going in the Hall of Fame." I says, "John, is this April Fool's? Like, you joke with me? What's going on here?" He said, "Sean, I'm dead serious." He said, "This is John Thompson." I said, "What is a bad joke if you're telling me?" But I said, "I'll come to the phone after." He said, "No." He said, "Sean, it's John Thompson, and you're going to go into the Hall of Fame, and you get elected in, and blah blah blah." And it starts going on, and I'm just sitting there saying, "You got to be the wrong person." Because I don't think I deserve to go there for one. I mean, you played the game, you played it hard to the best of your level, and you want to win a ring. That's what it's all about, to win a ring with your teammates, tell some stories, have success. And that's why I played the game. I couldn't even dream in my wildest dreams that you would be good enough to go to a Hall of Fame. I mean, I was shocked. I was floored. And I mean, still to this day, I don't believe it till I go down and look at the ring that's in my ring case saying, "Hey, Hall of Fame." Like, hey, that is me. Believe it or not, I'm shocked. But, there's a million people out there that could be better suited to go in there. I mean, I'm honored and truly humbled to get there, to be with the best of the best. But my journey was to make everybody around me better, which I hope I did, which, I mean, the success is in the numbers. I mean, we're lucky enough to surround yourself by good people, good things happen. And I had great people around me through my career. For whatever reason, we won several rings. We got lucky. I feel bad for the guys that played their whole career and don't get the chance to get to that promised land, because it is a great place to be. Harder to repeat, but it's a great place to be. But I mean, just, to be honored by your peers, to go in the Hall of Fame, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm just so humbled and couldn't believe it. Actually, I'm shocked.
That's awesome, buddy.
Well, yeah. When you have the guys looking at you, in our mind, no one deserves it more for what you've done in the game, the impact you've had on it, not just from the accolades and the awards and the championships, just your whole approach to the game, and then giving back to younger players. And one of the best catchers, one of the best all-around ball players to play the game, but also one of the best guys to have a beer with and to get around the beer tent or back in the hotel. And that's what your teammates, guys that play against you, once it's off the field, everybody's friends. And that's something I know that was probably what meant the most to you. And from what you're saying to us, I know that's something really special to you, the off-the-field friendships, the moments in the beer tent. When you look back on your career from that regard, what comes to mind?
Well, it comes to mind is that, like I say, that's how I get to know people. That's what makes you better, me better, everybody around you better. Because when I get to know you, and some people don't like pressure, some people do. Some people handle it in a different ways. It's just to get to know the person. Like you say, I really, when I become friends with people off the field, I become friends with people off the field. That's what it is. And like I say, we played in 2008 with Aspen. I mean, I got a call from Jason Carlick. Love Jason to death. The Carlick family and all that stuff brought me in. I think, Hilly, you played for Aspen at one point in time there. Great organization, great people. I mean, I got a call from Dino when we left O'Reilly, and you had that merge with Hallman Twins where we weren't a part of it, and it was sort of a sour taste in our mouths. But anyway, got a call from Dino and said, "Obi, do me a favor. I want you to play with Aspen this year." I said, "Dino, I don't know what I'm doing right now, to be honest." He said, "I don't know. We left O'Reilly. Hallman Twins merged with whoever." And I said, "I guess we're on the outside." He said, "Obi, you're going to come play with us." He said, "We need a leader, somebody to catch." He said, "Me and Itzy and Tosh and the boys, we get this going, and I need you to come." And I said, "Dino, I'm really not sure." I said, I have Jason. He said, "Obi, I'll tell you what. If you don't play with us this year, I'm going to hit you every time we play against you the whole year." I said, "Oh, great. Well, in that case, have Jason call me and see what we can work out." But I mean, that Aspen team in 08 was the most fun. That I think they put the fun back in the ball for me, because, it becomes sort of a business. It's mentally tough. And to play with a bunch of, I'd say, misfits. We call us misfits because we had like Red came played with us, Dino, Tosh. I mean, some named players, but other guys like Hitchy and Hanny and all these guys played, which I know Hilly knows as well. They all played together, and we got big hits from 7, 8, and 9 in our lineup that whole year. I think we went 44-4, 48-4, something all year. Lost to you guys in the finals in Kitchener, or in I think it was Kimberley that year.
That was Kimberley, yeah.
Yeah, you guys beat us in the semis with the Fire.
Yeah, well, we had to take the back road again. We had to win 3 on the last day, or 2 on the last day, and 1 in the finals, or whatever it was. And we just ran out of gas. I mean, we got in that game against Kitchener that night, and Dino's throwing blinders. Like, Wolfie gets up and says, "Wolfie, just tell him to don't hit me, because I can't see a ball that's coming in right now." I said, "Wolfie, I'm having trouble catching myself," because Dino just had a fire in his belly that time. He wanted to win bad. And I said, we wanted to win for him. And it just, we get up on the lead, and Dino just starts running out of gas, and then, Wolfie hits a bomb, and I think Shannon hit a bomb, I think Blair hit a bomb. It's just, and then we had to bring in Ichi, and poor Ichi was running out of gas. So we just had a tough run. Actually, it's the first time in my whole career where I was mentally done at the end of the day. When you talk about leaving it on the field, I left the field where, man, I don't even know if I'm going to make it home. I'm so bagged and exhausted mentally, physically, but we left it all there. And I was devastated because of the Kitchener-Holler, the Twins thing, and, we weren't a part of that. We sort of went our separate ways. But I have to say, everything happens for a reason. It was the most fun that I had with that group of guys, thanks to Jason Karlik and Ron and Michelle and stuff like that. It was just it rejuvenated me and my career to, hey, this ball is fun again. And it sort of put the life back into me to keep going. And, hey, we won another year, and then ended up hooking up with Robbie in 2010. And, miracles happened there too. I mean, where our dreams came true, where we got our world ring together, and it's something we can live and talk about for the rest of our lives. It's just, something that we wanted to do, and then we're blessed enough to do it. I mean, it was awesome.
Well, you talk about Robbie, you just brought him up again, and I got to ask you, I think you heard Robbie's podcast, and we talked about on there when I tried to drink rum with you guys that one night in Erie, Pennsylvania. We were at the bar, and we went outside. I want your perspective on this. If you had to let us go, who do you think would have won that fight, me or Rob?
Boy, I honestly think when I walked out, I think I was winning that fight, because I would have knocked two of you bastards right out. I got Denny. Denny's in the bar. Denny's in the bar there, and he's like, "Sean, boys are going outside." I said, "So what, Denny? Well, we got to play tomorrow. Like, this is Robbie and Lolly. They're going out there. They're best friends. Like, they're living together." Denny, so what? Sean, you got to get up here. So he starts like, "Denny, you're ruining my buzz, bud. I'm not going to lie. Like, we're having fun here." So he said, "Sean, you got to go out and do something." So I walked out. Mark says, "You fucking idiots, get in there. Fucking grab both of you. He said, get in there, and we're fucking having a drink." And that was it. Yeah, I see your days on the old whiskey, boy, or the rum. You might want to give those days up and stick to the old 67 calorie beers or whatever you're drinking now.
Oh, man, remember that kick? He was on that kick forever.
That's what, but like you say, that was a lot of fun that year, really, too. We had a lot of fun, and like you say, it was great to see that, when you play in Ontario, Mary and Jerry can come up and see us all the time and see us fight and do what we do. And I mean, I guess, it's always great to have your family around, and it gets back to the family where, we're nobody right now without our spouses. I mean, whether you're women playing, you're men playing, you have spouses at home, and it's a game changer when you start having kids. And I mean, you better thank your spouse, because at the end of the day, they put up with you flying out on everywhere on weekends, flying all the time, flying home. They're taking care of the kids. I mean, I know Stace, when Gray was born and stuff like that, I mean, he was there for about, I gave up after he was about 5 or 6 years old, because he wanted to play ball. And I thought it was fair, I was on the road. He's going to get a chance to play ball and enjoy it. So I just want to be that dad, the coach, and all that stuff. That's a big reason why I gave up as well. But, I mean, they sacrifice so much. I mean, parents the same way. I mean, they never get enough credit where credit is due. I mean, for them to, pay their money to come in and watch you play. And I hope that when fans did pay their money to watch us play, we gave them what they were deserving, like a good game, competitive, left it all on the field, and hopefully get your money's worth when you left at the end of the day. But I mean, a funny story, when I think we're in Newfoundland, Lolly, we're playing when we lost there to ruin the finals or whatever it was. Anyway,
07.
Gray was behind. Gray always liked to be behind home plate. So anyway, you get locked in and you don't hear a friggin' thing. So anyway, apparently Gray was yelling, Dad, just driving the umpy mental. He's driving him mental. Finally, the umpire taps me on the shoulder and says, "Sean, can you do me a favor?" I said, "What's that? Can you say hi to your son?" I said, "Why?" He said, "He's screaming at the top of his lungs behind home plate there, your name." And I said, "Oh, geez." So I turned around and said, "Hey, Gray." He's like, "Hey, Dad." And then he went back on his merry way. It's just,
That's
what is going on here? Yeah, he's like, "I just wanted your attention, say hi right in the middle of a game, a pressure game." And but that's what it was. It was all about. I mean, that made my day, made his day. It was fun. That's that was a tough loss for us, boy. It's
oh yeah.
You hit the nail on the head there a second ago. I mean, and I tell the young kids all the time, we all got goals in this game as young kids coming through, and boy, if you don't have that support system, and I tell the young kids, I said, surround yourself with people who are going to push you and enable you to reach your goals. And without it, and especially, how hard it is once you get married and you start having kids and you're still playing, without that support system, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen.
It's hard, man. And like I say, I'm a firm believer. I'm like, I give my wife credit for sticking with me for so long. I mean, even her family, I mean, the mother-in-law, Lyndon, and and mom and dad and all of them are there. Like, they supported us for so long. I mean, and, you talk about the Hall of Fame. I think these people should be in the Hall of Fame, not the players. I mean,
You're exactly right.
They sacrificed everything for us to follow a dream that we had. Selfish, yes, on our part, to go out. But, when I retired, man, I honestly was devastated for a year or two. Lucky enough, I became the athlete rep for the national team to put me back in the program. But, I mean, you're lost because you're doing for 20-odd years. You're going to see your buddies every weekend of the summer. Like, win, lose, or draw, you're going to see, you're going to play your hardest. At the end of the day, you're going to come home. And it was so much fun. But when I retired, I was like, man, I missed that. Like, I'm missing something. I was like, I just got divorced, or I lost somebody in a family member or something. I was in a state of depression for whatever reason, but just couldn't figure it out. But I mean, you get back on track, you start coaching, you start giving back to the kids, and it just brings you back into the game. And you guys have stuff like this, this is thrilling, man. Honestly, to talk about the game and talk about the old days and the fun we had, man, like, this is what it's all about. It gives you goosebumps. I
was just going to get into it. I know, I don't know, I guess, I don't know if you're coaching right now, the kids or whatnot, but is there a coaching career at the senior level for you in the future?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'd love to give back. Like you say, talked to me a few times about coming out and giving a hand and stuff like that. And yeah, I would love to give back. I coached my kid for a fair bit with the COVID. You're not coaching anybody, but
right.
It's funny. Gray was playing baseball a few years back, and I was helping him out and saying, Gray, this is how you're pitching. And the other coach is there, and Gray's like, yeah, whatever. He goes up, and Buddy throws the ball outside where I told him was going to come. He said, Dad, how'd you know that? I said, Bud, I kind of played for a few years. Like, I kind of know what pitchers are thinking or how they're going to get you. You're stepping the buckets, so you're going to throw outside and all that stuff.
Got a black book, man.
Well, yeah, even with the 7 and 8 year olds, I got your pick. I'm telling them the concept of the game of how they're going to get you out, because look the way you're standing, look the way you're swinging and all that stuff. Just wouldn't listen. The other coach come over and says, do you not realize who your dad is? And he said, yeah, he's dad. And he said, yeah, but he played that game at a high level and he did okay for himself and all that stuff. Yeah, but he's still dad. You don't know everything. Okay.
That is great, man. Well, we hope that you do choose to stay in the game in whatever way works for you. And I know on the national team, everybody looks up to you. You're so well respected right across any facet of the game. When Sean O'Brien's name comes up, people listen, people speak to you, they revere you. And having you on here, getting to catch up with you and relive some of the old stories, just to see you, like you said, you rely on, while you're playing, seeing your buddies in the summertime. And when you don't get to do it, you miss it. So to have you come on here and get caught up, you pick up where you left off. One of the best all time. Can't thank you for enough for everything that you did in the careers for both Hilly and I, and for coming on here and sharing some of your wisdom, some of the laughs and stories. Absolute pleasure having you on, Obi.
Like you say, fellas, I really appreciate it, and it's great what you're doing to get back in the game. It's just, like you say, I like to scratch the surface on a few more things, but I mean, you only get so much time in the run of the day. I mean, we could sit and talk for hours and hours and hours just about the good old days and the stories. But hey, anytime you want me on, you give me a call. I'm a phone call away, and we're definitely going to hook up. I'll come see you as soon as this COVID lifts, and get back and have a few beers and lie. And if you want to come up to the Goofy Noofy and actually remember what it looks like, when you leave, you might know what it looks like when you come in. But if you need your fire protection stuff, give me a call. I can probably help you out there too.
I tell you what, once we're allowed to go, old Hilly's packing the bags and we're going for a week somewhere.
Nice little road trip. Go up and see Robbie and have some fun, man.
Yeah, why not? Why not? But
we need to do it and tell some good old stories again. But like you say,
I say it after every episode. This is another cool experience for me, and it's just cool to reminisce and talk about our passion anyway, and hopefully, I know that some of the stories and some of the insights that you have we chatted about with us for over the last hour are going to be pretty interesting and pretty cool for some of the young catchers and ball players or pitchers or whoever out there to take in. But thanks for coming on, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Like I say, fellas, I'm an open book. You guys got my numbers. Anybody needs help, give me a call. I just don't give up my black book. It still stays. I think it's down in my ball bag somewhere, and she's staying. But the game is, players have changed, but the game is still the same. It's the same concept. People just do what they got to do, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's absolute pleasure. We're going to get our hands on that black book one of these days. And you're right. We just scratched the surface. We're going to have you back on. We'd love to have you back on again soon, and we'll have a little bit more fun. But you're the best, buddy. You're the best.
Oh, really appreciate it, fellas. Like I say, keep doing what you're doing, man. You give back to the game in one way or another, whether you're not on the field, and through COVID to give something that some people have a laugh about. And hey, we had a lot of fun, man. Made a lot of memories, and we'll share some more memories next time.
Absolutely.
Cheers, buddy. Chat
All
soon,
the best,
man.
guys. Take care.
All right. Want to thank everybody for listening to another episode of Dust Up with Hilly and Lolly. We got Lucas and Nick here. Give us some of that old rum ragged to take us out.
Get up! Get up! Get out of here! I told you, Mr. Drama.
I used to be a ladies' man, but I'm unhappy now. For courting 6 girls all at once, they used me.
Say bye-bye baseball!
My mother said it was naughty, I should take some years back. But I said if it's naughty, sure it's also very